Well, hello again and welcome to another episode of the Hyperion Adventures Podcast. I'm Tom. As always, I'm with my gorgeous, wonderful, extremely intelligent Walt Disney World loving wife and co-host, Michelle.
Oh, thank you, sweetie. Yeah, hi, everybody.
So good to have you with us. We are recording this episode. Wow, it's actually in the middle of the day, like the good old days.
I know, very nostalgic.
On Sunday, August 28th, 2022. Yes, I am no longer employed by the United States Postal Service.
By choice.
By choice. I have a new job coming up, but in the meantime, I'm taking a little time off and getting reacquainted with my family and just life in general. But we're so happy to be with you today.
Yeah, a lot of fun things to talk about.
Oh, we have a lot of fun things to talk about, and we can't wait to share them with you. Thank you for joining us today. In the future, you can find us most everywhere you get podcasts. However, the very best place to find us is on our own website, HyperionAdventuresPodcast.com. And while you're there,
we'd love for you to sign up for our newsletter.
Please sign up for the newsletter. Just another great way to be involved in the Hyperion Adventures podcast world. Michelle has taken the thing over and is just doing fantastic things with it. It's all full of Michelle-ness. You're going to love it. If you've already subscribed, you know that. If you haven't subscribed yet, go on in and check it out because we think you're going to really enjoy it.
Well, hopefully. And if you have some ideas or things you'd like to see in it, let us know. We're trying to give some updated information and other tips kind of stuff and recaps.
Yes, absolutely. So go on in and let us know what you think of it and how we can make it even better. And one great way to do that is by following us on social media. You connect with us there on Twitter at Hyperion Podcast, Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest at Hyperion Adventures Podcast. If you are on Facebook, come on over and join us for some good, positive Disney energy fun on our Hyperion Adventurers Facebook group.
Yeah, a lot of great things that people share there, and we celebrate with everybody. Got an interesting question about from Scott, our listener Scott.
Yeah, Scott in Minnesota.
Right.
Sent out a query. And this is one that I've heard posed before, but it's always fun to go through some of these, rehash some of these. And this is a good one as far as how would you retheme Rock and Roller Coaster featuring Aerosmith? Now that kind of Aerosmith, it's kind of a band, it's always been a band kind of the past, more of the 70s and 80s, but, they really aren't doing much anymore. And there's a lot of people who go to the parks that barely know who Aerosmith is. So how would you retheme that attraction? And there's some fun responses on our Hyperion Adventures Facebook group.
Yeah. And he even gave me a little, homework. He challenged me to research something. So I just responded today.
Ooh, challenge. Challenge accepted.
Of course.
Yes. But we're having a lot of fun on that site and lots of great things there. And we hope you'll come in and join in on the fun. Also, we are on YouTube. If you want to find us there, just do a quick search for Hyperion Adventures Podcast. Hit subscribe. You'll know whenever we have a new video. And if you ever want to contact us for any reason, please hit us up at our Gmail account, HyperionAdventuresPodcast@gmail.com.
We certainly love hearing from you, even if you're just saying hi. But feel free to connect with us and ask if there's any topic questions you'd like us to cover or any questions about something we may have covered.
Yeah, for whatever reason you want to contact us, that is a great space to do so. Now, if you want to help support the show and get a little swag out of it at the same time, well, there are a couple great ways to do that. The first is to go straight to our Spreadshirt shop where we have all sorts of items with our various logos. There, yes, of course, obviously Spreadshirt means it has shirts, but it also has all sorts of different things. It has aprons, it has masks, it has hats, it has mugs, water bottles, all sorts of stuff there. And if you want to find us, you can go to Spreadshirt.com and just do a search for us, or even easier, just go to any of our social media profile pages. We have a Linktree account there, and you just click on that, and there's a link straight to our site, and you can just go shop in there and find whatever you like. And we do get a portion out of anything you purchase there. Plus, you get to strut around wearing some of our, hashtag Real Men Love Frozen stuff, or I'm heading to Hyperion Adventureland stuff, or just our straight out Hyperion Adventures podcast logo gear.
Yeah. And, from time to time they have sales and, either discounts or free shipping or a little bit of both, or, and as we always say, sometimes changing out some new products.
Yeah, so definitely check out to see if there's anything new that you haven't seen before or to check it out for the first time. Another great way to help support the show is through our Patreon page. You can go to patreon.com/Hyperion Adventures Podcast. We have tiers starting as low as $2 per month, and you can get some swag out of that, some other things that are coming up that Michelle is working on. Currently, she sent out an email just a couple weeks ago with some interesting information for some of our Patreon members. And of course, we just appreciate everybody who's already become a member of our Patreon page.
That's for sure. Thank you so much. We appreciate that. The funds just really help keep this show running. It's not free for us, but we're not making any profit off of it, but we just appreciate everybody who's participating as Patreon.
Far from ever making any money off of this show, but we enjoy doing it. That's the key to it. So that is what our fun is every single week. Now, speaking of every single week, one thing we like to do every single week is kind of look back at the week that was. It's got highs, it's got lows, it's got twists, it's got turns, but we are the Positivity Positivity Disney Podcast.
Not a
Easy
podcast
for me to
that can
say.
Speak well,
Well, they know that. I hope going into this that is just kind of how we are, or at least how I am. But we are the Positivity Disney Podcast, and we like to focus on the positive things that come out of this week. And we always like to mention our favorite thing from the week. And when we do this, well, we always start with Michelle because she's awesome, wonderful, all things good in the world. She does the best research. She has the best lists. She has the best tips, but she almost always has the best my favorite thing from this week. So Michelle, what was your favorite thing from this week?
Wow, this one was a hard one because there were a lot of great things that happened this week. But to narrow it down to one, I'd have to say that we have Scott back with us.
Yes, we just picked him up yesterday, and he's rejoined us for the next several months here in our brand new Florida home. And that was good to have him back with us. We are excited to spend this next few months, and we've got some cool things planned to do with him.
Right,
So that's cool. That was definitely one of my favorite things. Look, this episode is going to be all about my favorite things from this week because there were so many great things that happened this week. But also just the way I closed out my I was about to say career. My short career with the United States Postal Service was really good. I had a really good final day. There were some people that said some really nice things about me before I left there. And that was great. And I am looking forward to what is to come from my new job here starting in a couple weeks in the future.
Right into the healthcare field.
Finally
got you there.
Yeah. So that's kind of looking at, and I'll get to my other favorite things from this week because they're lengthy coming up in the bulk of this episode. Now, we did get one from one of our listeners as well, one of our members of our Hyperion Adventurers Facebook group. This came in from Sue in the UK. She said, favorite thing of the week this week was finally getting to see Disney's The Lion King at the theater. It was absolutely stunning. What a show they put on. Over 2 hours long, and it was spectacular. I had fabulous view from my seat and was so lucky to have grabbed it at such a good price. Highly recommended. That's awesome,
Yay.
Sue. So happy
For her.
Yeah, she had mentioned that as her favorite thing when she was able to land the ticket a few weeks back and then being able to go and experience it, living up to the expectations and maybe exceeding it. That's fantastic. So happy for you, Sue.
Yeah, we're very excited for you and kind of envious, but glad that you got a chance to see that and that you confirmed that it's something worthy to check out.
Yeah,
it's great.
We still have not seen it ourselves. I'm looking forward to doing it sometime in the very near future. Now, speaking of the future, or actually the present, we have lots of stuff for you this week, including it's now easier to share your love for the amazing cast members at the Happiest Place on Earth. We'll tell you how you can do that. And if you're thinking about a cruise adventure through a galaxy far, far away in the coming year, well, we have some news you're definitely going to want to hear. But enough about all that. Let's go ahead and get to our main topic of the week. So for this week's main topic, we're going to look back at our fun little, it was a relatively short trip, but we packed a lot in within our 3 days, 2 night stay at the Walt Disney World Resort.
Yeah, we did. Not only did we do a lot, we stayed at more than one place.
Yeah. Well, this was a last minute decision to
Right.
make this trip because we didn't know what was going to happen with my work schedule. If I was still working at the post office, this was not going to happen for more than maybe one night.
Right. Yeah.
And there was a lot of other factors involved, but we were able to, once I knew when my end date for the post office was going to be, we were able to work some things out. We went on the DVC website and were able to find a couple nice rooms.
Mm-hmm.
And so we booked them both. And we had, like I said, a really, really nice trip.
Yeah, and some special fun that
Yeah.
we weren't expecting.
Yeah,
or
we did
things better than we expected.
Right. Well, it's going to be funny because a lot of things fell into place just perfectly on this trip. I'm not going to say like it was one of those where you got a lot of pixie dust sprinkled on you or anything like that. It wasn't like that. It was just that, like, as things went on through these 3 days, like everything just kind of fell into where we needed it to do a lot of different cool stuff that we either haven't done or haven't done in a long time.
Right. We didn't have the glitches that you
Right.
sometimes have when you're going on a trip.
Yeah, almost always you have something come and it goes a little bit sideways and you need to kind of work around that. That didn't happen a lot. As a matter of fact, like I said, everything kind of fell in place, and we'll discuss a lot about that as we go on. So we started on day one. This was on Tuesday. That was on August 23rd. And we decided, I had been working very hard at the post office. So we were going to take our first day very slowly and not do a ton of stuff. As a matter of fact, we figured this would be a great day for a pool day out at the at Bay Lake Towers at the Contemporary Resort. So we headed on off there, kind of relatively not early in the morning, but mid-morning. Trekked out from where we are in the Space Coast and parked there and looked around. We got there at about, I want to say it was a little after 11 when we got there in the morning. We were thinking we would easily find a nice umbrella seat right by the pool, but it was a little trickier than we thought initially.
Right. Now, one thing to clarify, we parked there because we did have reservations.
Yes, we were staying there that night.
At Bay Lake Tower.
Yes.
So that's the first thing. But yeah, I think they open the pools usually around around 10:30, and we got there not long after that, and not a umbrella to be found.
Right. Well,
unoccupied.
At least not at Bay Lake Towers. We first checked in over there. We checked in online, but wanted to double check and check in just to be sure we could get into the pool and everything. Plus, we had our new Magic Band Pluses, so we wanted to be sure that those worked. So we went over to the Bay Lake Towers pool and looked over there in our usual spots where we get a nice shady area. We're pretty full up. So Michelle did find one spot. There was some shade. So I said, she decided to stay there. I went over to the Contemporary pool just to see what was open over there.
Divide and conquer.
There were a couple of good spots over there. So I staked our claim on one spot, texted Michelle, come on over. And then we parked ourselves there for a better part of the day.
Yeah. Under an umbrella.
Yes, under an umbrella.
Not an ultraviolet light protecting umbrella.
Yes, I'm going to get into that in my tip of the week later today, but just know that there's
something to come up.
Be ready if you think you're in the shade of the Disney pools, maybe not as much as you think. But anyway, it was a really nice spot. We had it was pretty mellow there for the morning. There was some chances of rain that were supposed to come in. We weren't sure when that was going to start, but for the time we were there, it was nice. It was sunny. It was warm, yes, but we were in the shade, and we had got some nice cocktails delivered to us from Shan, who was our wonderful server around the pool, brought us some great cocktails, and we just relaxed and enjoyed the day.
Yeah, and the water in the pool was wonderful temperature, just enough to cool you down, but not enough where you froze when you first got in, and it was spectacular.
Yeah, it was everything I kind of hoped for that day. My body was still pretty sore from doing the physical activity that is involved with the United States Postal Service. So it was really good to just have that day to kind of just regroup and relax.
Right.
And we got our little text on our phone at around 2:30ish that our room was ready at Bay Lake Towers. And that was good because that was just about the time when we were about ready to move on from the pool. We'd been there for several hours and it was time to do something else. So we went and checked into our room, went right up. We were on, the 11th floor.
11th floor.
We decided to do for the rare time, we did a theme park view. We don't usually.
I think that was what was available.
Yeah. We don't normally do a theme park view. We like the lake view specifically, but we've also done the standard view and enjoyed that as well.
Right.
But this was a deluxe studio. And with the theme park view, we walked in and looked out at the park, and we were pretty darn happy when we did that.
Yeah, very impressed. It's like I mentioned, there was only that theme park view available, and only for one night. So we thought, oh, let's give it a try. Like we've said, the studios at Bay Lake Towers, the layout is fabulous. It's by far better than most of the studios or any of the other studios that we've either been to or researched. It's just really convenient, some of their layout and the availability of space to store things. Even if you were going to be there for a while and wanted food, their little pantry area gives a lot of space for storage.
Right. Yeah, Bay Lake Towers continues to be our favorite DVC resort. Now, we haven't stayed at them all. We have stayed at a few, and so far they remain to the top of the list, and that goes for every category of room we've stayed in, whether it be the standard view, the lake view, definitely our favorite, and now the theme park view. Now, if you're going to do a theme park view, just note, a lot of your view, especially if you're lower, you're going to get a lot of parking lot in that view. Yes, you'll see the park really well, but you will also get a lot of the Contemporary / Bay Lake Towers parking lot right there in front of you. So know that going in. But there are some cool things to see when you're looking at that angle. Yeah,
I mean, you definitely do see the theme park, but like Tom mentioned, or AKA Henry, that some of our listeners may know you as.
Yes.
That
many postal workers
that the theme park view is, first overlooking the parking lot, but yes, you do get pretty sweet views. I mean, you're far away, so don't expect that it's like right there. You're not like within the park. Space Mountain is your closest reference point, and it looks pretty large there, but you definitely can see the castle and things in your view.
Right. You get a great view of the castle. I mean, we've taken some pictures, and you may see some that we've posted out there, and it doesn't really do it justice. The view, you do get a great view of the castle, all the mountains. You can see definitely the castle, and then Space Mountain is clear as day.
Yeah.
And then you also can see Splash Mountain and Big Thunder when the visibility is great there as well. We were also able to see Tron testing while we were there. We could see that kind of flashing by a couple times. That was kind of cool. But we were pretty happy with the view. I mean, again, it's not something I think we would do on the regular, especially since it's more points.
Right.
But we did enjoy it, and we were really happy that we got that room. So we got in after being at the pool and sweating and everything else all day. We decided to go ahead and take some showers. And, we weren't thinking we were going to go to the parks, but we made a park reservation for Magic Kingdom anyway, just in case. And as the day went on, we noticed it got a little cloudy, but it wasn't raining yet. And we were like, you know what we really feel like doing, especially with Michelle talking here. I really need a little people mover in my life.
That's right. TTA.
Yeah. So we decided, what the heck? Let's go ahead and head over there. It wasn't time. It was a night for Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party. That had not started yet. The early entry for those who had tickets had not started yet. We were just before that. So we're like, maybe we can beat that crowd, get over there, take some pictures, and of course do one of our favorite attractions, the People Mover. So that's what we did.
Yeah, it's one of those, if you just like on the fly like we were doing there, it was great to be able to get on it quickly. A lot of the other attractions, especially being that it was getting close to the time that the crowds, because they had already started lining up to go in their early entry for the Not So Scary. Most of the attractions had long waits.
Yeah. So it clouded up, which was also nice for us because it was hot. All 3 days while we were at the parks, it was very hot. But it had clouded up enough that the sun wasn't beating on us. So it was actually a relatively pleasant temperature there, which made it great for the walk over to the attractions. Like I said, we snapped a few pictures of the castle and some other things as we were going along. And then we did the People Mover, which is always excellent. Always love the People Mover. If you saw the picture on the social media, we had a celebrity behind us. The celebrity TTA People Mover orange cone was in the seat behind us. And that's always fun too.
And it looked like you were sporting some nail polish.
Yes. Some people noticed that it looked like one of my hands had nail polish. I know that was Michelle getting into the picture with her hand pointing to the cone. Well, not that I'm afraid to wear nail polish, but mine never comes out as well as Michelle's.
Well, and my stumpy short little fingers.
Yeah, not at all.
Compared to, you're taller.
The only thing that's true about that is short. None of those other things you just said are true.
Well, anyways.
And little.
We digress.
Anyway, so we went over and just did that. And that was a bit of all we did. We did check out, tried to do our little Magic Band Plus with Stitch over there and, waved at him. And he did make some little noises for us, but we didn't get to use the app on him. But
right. There were some other people wanting to get pictures.
Yeah,
there.
we didn't want to block
they
it.
were probably getting ready to leave.
Right.
Soon, so.
Yeah, we had gotten there somewhere between 3:30 and 3:45. People were definitely already lined up to go into Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party. So
felt bad for those people because it was hot and
they're in costumes.
Yeah, and they're in their costumes out in the sun
and packed in, in that line waiting to get in. So they had just started heading in as we were kind of heading on our way out. And so that's when we were like, okay, we're good. We got a little visit. Now let's go back and relax. And we were getting ready to go to the Top of the World Lounge in the new Villain's Lair.
Yeah. I mean, then the other nice thing of going in there was our opportunity to see the park that had transformed to the autumn and Halloween views, which, just recently happened. And we just got our first chance at seeing it. And it really looked awesome.
Yeah, the decorations are already out. Of course, the parties are happening. So the decorations are already out and it looks great. We also got lucky enough that we just missed the giant rainstorm that went through, that those poor people that went in early for Mickey's Not So Scary just got dumped on for a while. We missed it by probably 5 minutes by the time we got back. Again, one of these things that fell into place. It was cloudy enough that we weren't sweltering in the sun as we were walking, but it was also, we just missed when the actual storm rolled through the area.
That was funny. Good timing.
Yeah.
One of those, like you said, it's not always that you have everything fall into place.
Yeah. So we went back to our room and actually sat there on our balcony and watched it, tried to watch some of the lightning go through into the area, which was not far away.
Crazy.
And it was kind of an enjoyable extra light show for us. So we just kind of kicked back for a while. Then the time rolled around where you can get into the Villain's Lair, the new Top of the World Lounge retheme. And we went down and checked into that, and it didn't take us long. We went downstairs about 5:50, I want to say. They tell you to line up around 5:45. We got there about 5:50, and we were upstairs by 6:15 or something like that.
Right.
I'd say.
Yeah. They really, the people who check you in don't really arrive till right at 6. This is only the second time since they've reopened that I've had the opportunity, but it was the same kind of thing. They tell you to line up there, and I get it. They tell you to line up early so that you have an opportunity to, more likely get in there, because they do sell reservations for a special party there. So sometimes it may not be, especially if you're not there at the opening where you'd have a guarantee to get in.
Right. So we checked in. Like I said, we were fairly early, and the text they take your name down. They do this for a lot of, when you're doing standby at a lot of, or even when you have a reservation for a lot of the restaurants or whatever throughout the Walt Disney World Resort and Disneyland Resort for that matter. They take your phone number down and they'll send you a text when you're ready to go. And it didn't take very long at all for us to get that text. Went upstairs, like I said, seated by 6:15. And this is Michelle had already been able to visit. This is my first time getting to visit. And I like the little touches, the little villains touches they put up there. Yeah.
And it actually had gotten a little bit more since the time that I went, because I went, I think, within the first few days of reopening. One of the things, before we get into too much detail for people to be aware of, is obviously they do verify that you are a DVC member, at least one person in the party.
And that you purchased it through Disney.
Right. And the other thing is that they need proof that you're staying on property.
Right. During that time.
Right. You don't have to be staying at a DVC location or on DVC points. They don't even look at that, but they do verify now that you are currently a Disney Resort guest,
right,
to go up there. So if you were thinking of maybe trying it when you're not staying on property, there's a good chance, because they did have everybody in our line that time show proof. And I don't think they did that the first time I was there, but this time they definitely did.
So just be aware of that going in, that you need to be a DVC member, bought through Disney, can't be a resale type situation. And that you also will have to be staying somewhere within the Disney bubble,
right,
at a Disney resort during that time. So yeah, I mean, you may be able to get away with it. You may luck out at some time, but I wouldn't bet on it if you have your heart set on going.
Right. Exactly.
Wait until you're staying on DVC points there, or find somebody who will invite you up with them.
Right.
Like us, we don't mind doing that from time to time. So.
Right. I mean, one of the things online, it says that you can only bring up the number of people that are on your reservation. That they didn't get into the details with us, but they may have questioned if we had like 4 other people with us or something.
Yeah. I mean, if we ever plan ahead, we can always, if it's something we know, we could add somebody to our reservation or whatever, make sure it works, in the plans in the future. But anyway, we digress. We got up there, like I said, the touches aren't overwhelming. Like you're not going to walk in there and think, oh, the villains have really taken over this place when you go in. But there are some subtle things. It's still the top of the world lounge. It still will remind you very much if you've been there in the past or if you've seen pictures or whatever it may be. But there are some nice touches around. There's some interesting artwork. There's just some nuanced little pieces of things. The music up there is while not being extremely they're not just playing on Poor Unfortunate Souls and they're not, playing some of these villain songs over and over again, but they are definitely on the villain side of the music spectrum as you're listening up there. The menu has changed. Everything is now, while it's a lot of items you will recognize, they have definitely changed them slightly to give them fun villains, names going along with them. And,
they embrace the theming for that.
Some cocktails. We didn't try the cocktails this time, although we made a note that we have to try that the next time we go up there. We just got some nice glasses of wine. But we did get some of the food up there because this is basically going to be our dinner. We did like an appetizer-based dinner when we were up there. So here are the things that we ordered. And I think we can talk about them as we go through them. We did the Empress charcuterie board, which is your typical charcuterie board. A little small if you're just looking for like a very hearty meal. But
it's good for a single person.
Or if you're doing other things as kind of something to split with a lot of other appetizers as well. We also did the Unfortunate Souls shrimp, which is a herb roasted shrimp with the flavors of romesco sauce, olive tapenade, and a marinated tomatoes. That it's a cold dish. I was expecting it was going to be a hot shrimp dish. It's a cold shrimp dish, kind of like almost
dressed up.
Yeah, kind of like a Greek almost shrimp cocktail in some ways. But it was very good. Enjoyed that. And what we really enjoyed was the Cosmic Plant Power Flatbread, which is topped with plant-based za'atar spice beef. I imagine that's Impossible beef, essentially. Caramelized onion spread, pickled onions, and I think it's a vegan tzatziki, which is normally it's a yogurt cucumber sauce. I'm sure it's some sort of vegan yogurt type dish. But it was really, really good. Really enjoyed that. I actually enjoyed all 3 things very much.
Yeah, I did too. The cheese platter. I can never say it right.
The charcuterie?
Charcuterie. I can say it in my head, or if I'm just talking, like if I was alone, I could say it. But then when I'm saying it to somebody, like to order it or whatever, I always botch it. But anyways, I love that. I think they just have a very nice selection, and I mentioned it when we talked about it before, how they have some little accompaniments with it are fabulous as well. And the shrimp, like you said, I was expecting hot, but it didn't. It was delicious, really flavorful. It wasn't like your typical don't think shrimp and cocktail. It was, the appearance and the layout, it was different, but just the flavors was a lot more.
Yeah, the romesco sauce really set those shrimp off. They really
and even the
good,
herbs on it was really flavorful. And like you said, the flatbread was killer.
A little bit on the sweet side. I think it could have used a little bit of heat with it. I would talked about maybe some pickled jalapenos or some sort of pickled pepper on there, just a light, just to kind of balance some of the sweetness, but it was still really, really delicious. Something I would definitely order it again, and something I'm thinking about recreating for the Disney Dishes blog now that I once again have time to get back to the Disney Dishes blog here in the near future. So that is one of the dishes that may be coming fairly soon here. And then once we called it a night at there, we decided to get to go the 7-layer cake. It is 7 layers, but now it's 7-layer as in like villain's lair cake, and got that, took that back in the room. We had a bottle of wine in the room and just enjoyed that as we were getting set for the nightly fireworks, the special. Actually, it was not the nightly fireworks. It was the special Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party fireworks.
Right. I mean, the nice thing about our room was our balcony, gave the same view as you would get at the Top of the World Lounge. We were only 4 floors below it. So, we figured this is a great way to just, we were taking it easy anyways, and just had our own little private viewing of the fireworks.
Yeah, especially since the fireworks were a little bit later because of the party. They were at 10:15, whereas I believe Enchanted is usually at 9, something like along those lines. So it was a bit later, to try and, be ready to go back upstairs and watch them. When we have this perfectly good view from where we were, just made more sense to us. Yeah.
Right. Which, speaking of that is something that I don't know if it's just new that they're doing it or they're just really promoting it, but we had several cast members telling us, as long as you've gone up there to the Top of the World Lounge and, purchase something, whether it be a drink or food and drinks or whatever, you can return later in the evening to watch the fireworks up there. They will definitely get you up. You're guaranteed to go up there. Just need to show your receipt.
Right. Similar to what they do with the California Grill.
Right.
You don't need to be up there at fireworks time to watch fireworks with California. You have to be up there, but you don't have to be eating up there at the time as long as you keep your receipt. And if you've eaten any time during the day at the California Grill, you can go back up there. Same thing is now in place with Top of the World Lounge. You don't need to sit, get up there at 6 and try and stay up in the lounge until 10:15 at night to watch the fireworks. No, you can get your food or your drink or whatever it may be, go do your thing, and then come back later and show them your receipt down below, and they'll clear you to go upstairs.
Yeah. So. I mean, that's great that they, like Top of the World has had it for a while now. But I guess this is really one of the great perks of having DVC is that you can be guaranteed then to go see the fireworks. Whereas before you'd have to time it. And this makes sense because then everybody was trying to get into the lounge at the time the fireworks, just before the fireworks. And this way they can really get people to come in earlier and still enjoy the experience, but be able to come back later for the fireworks.
Right. Perfect. So, so take advantage of that if you have the opportunity to do so. So. Watch the fireworks. They were great from our view. They did have I wasn't sure if the music, because normally, obviously, they have enchantment going on there, and that's the music that they would set to the fireworks. So I wasn't sure if on the TV, if they would mesh them up, but they did. We were able to find the channel on the TV that had it, and so we were able to listen and watch as they synced up the fireworks from our room.
Yeah. It was great. I loved that fireworks show, and I loved the theming that they had. I don't want to give anything away because I know some people may have passes to the Not So Scary, but it was really great, and loved the fireworks.
Yeah,
they were impressive. They didn't shortcut it.
It was fun. We had a great view and a great time watching them. By the way, a couple things about the Bay Lake Towers room, just so you know, going in, there's a couple things that we noticed. One, it's more of the old school TV, it's got the scrolling menu of, television programs or whatever, and so you kind of got to look for where the fireworks channel is and et cetera, and for everything else is. It doesn't have the ability yet to allow you to stream anything from your devices while you're there onto the TV. They do. Yes, you can't cast. Thank you. They do have a connection port there where you can connect like an HDMI from your computer or whatever to the television. Also, they do have DVD players in the room. At least ours did. So if you are planning to stay there and want to bring some things for the kids to watch or whatever, though you do have that ability there at the park.
And if they don't have the DVD in the room, you can request it from housekeeping.
Correct. Also, in a lot of the more modern resorts now, and some of the older ones have added these in since they've refurbished them. They, have the USB ports right in either someplace within the room or within the outlets themselves. Bay Lake Towers does not have that at this point. So you're going to need to bring a plug if you're planning on charging any of your devices while you're in the room.
Yeah, we had one. for all our devices.
Yes.
But it worked out.
And we also, we took note that the DVD player had a USB port in there.
Right.
So we were able to plug some things into the DVD player. And
Right.
it's a little slower to charge things, but we were able to charge a few things through that. And it's especially important because now with the Magic Band Plus, you need to charge those as well overnight. So we needed more outlets for that.
For sure. The other thing about DVD in the rooms at any of the villas, at any of the, I should say, any of the DVC resorts, is they also in their community houses will have DVDs that you can borrow. So, and that borrow for free if you're staying there.
Mm-hmm. So that was just it. That was all we had to say. Just some important things in case you happen to be staying at Bay Lake Towers in the near future. Just a couple things we wanted to point out. It didn't affect our stay. We still loved it, and we're happy to go there. Now,
they're probably going to be upgrading.
Yeah, I think eventually they're going to start refurbishing some of these spaces within Bay Lake Towers. Right. I think it's not high on their priority list, but it'll be there eventually, and they'll modernize a few of these things. Still, the layout of that room is still our favorite layout of the room. If they refurbish it, I hope they don't change anything about the layout of those rooms.
Exactly.
Because they're perfect just the way they are. So we went to bed, moved to the next day, Wednesday, and that was a busy day for us.
We didn't talk about something that happened on Tuesday.
We will talk about that as we go through this because it's important to what happened on and why that day suddenly became so busy for us on the Wednesday because we had to flip-flop some things. Right. Originally, we had planned on going to Epcot in the morning, or maybe, I can't remember if we were doing Epcot or Magic Kingdom in the morning. But I
think we were doing Epcot in the morning.
Yeah, that's right. We were going to do a little food and wine in the morning and then head over later and park hop over to Disney's Hollywood Studios because we had a reservation for Sci-Fi Dine-In, which we had not done in years now. It's been a while because it's been tougher to get than it used to be because it's a very popular restaurant and for good reason. Something happened while we were at Magic Kingdom the day before. Something came across our phones mentioning that there may have been a Space 220 reservation available. I think it happened when we were on the People Mover, as a matter of fact.
It did happen on the People Mover.
So we both jumped quickly to our phones to try and get Space 220 reservation for the next day. And how did that turn out for us, Michelle?
It worked out. I nabbed it.
Yes.
Nabbed it. We nabbed it. We got it secured for a late dinner.
Yes.
And
we got an 8:20 p.m. reservation for dinner at Space 220. So that means we weren't going to go to Sci-Fi Dining at 4 and then Space 220 at 8:20. So we had to do some other things on the fly. First, we were just going to say, well, which do we keep? Do we keep the Sci-Fi because we love that place, or do we? Well, it was an easy choice because we never done Space 220. We wanted to do it.
Right.
So we decided, okay, we're going to cancel the Sci-Fi Dine-In. We'll do something else during the day for food, and then we'll do the dinner at Space 220. But when you were looking through there, you happened to find something interesting, Michelle.
Right. So, as I was looking, and I knew I needed to also, if we just kept Epcot, we could do Epcot all day. But so I started looking, and I found that there was a lunch available that became available at Sci-Fi. So for the Wednesday, so I thought, okay, great, we can just flip-flop. But then I was realizing, okay, well, we'll need a reservation to Hollywood Studios for the beginning part of our day up until 2. So can we get that? And so going through, and this was the day before they did the modification. So you had to cancel and then rebook your park reservation. So it was like a little scary to say, okay, it's showing that the studios is available, but will it be after I cancel this Epcot one? But sure enough, again, things were falling into place. Like Tom said, it wasn't necessarily cast members shedding pixie dust, but I guess the universe did. And so we were able to get the park reservation for Hollywood Studios, get the lunch reservations for Sci-Fi, and then still have our dinner reservations to go later in the evening over to Epcot's Space 220.
Right. And you're even able to land an early enough sci-fi dine-in reservation that there was actually about 8 hours of space in between our meals.
Right.
That like, it wasn't like we were concerned about, well, if we get sci-fi, maybe we just do something light there, because that food can get kind of heavy at sci-fi. It's all great food, but it can, it's burgers, it's fries, it's shakes, it's all that stuff. We don't want to ruin our appetite for going to Space 220.
Right.
And so, but it was, it was just our reservation was for just after noon. Actually, you got it for like 11:50, didn't you?
Well, originally I had it for 12:50, and then in the morning I checked again, and there was an earlier one for noon.
Yeah, so we got that. So we had a full 8 hours in between, so we could go ahead and have a regular meal at Sci-Fi Dine-In, which was nice. So,
I mean, the other thing that we were factoring in is we knew we had to change hotels, too. So check out of one and find out when we'd get into the next one.
Right. Yes. We were transitioning from Bay Lake Towers. As we said, we had one night at two different locations, Bay Lake Towers, over to Disney's Animal Kingdom Lodge, the Kanani Village portion of it, for a Savannah View deluxe studio there. So we had to have that in the equation as well. And it worked out perfectly for us. Like you said, you're able to get the park reservation, get the restaurant reservation. It all worked out great. We ended up, we checked out of our hotel in the morning, didn't move too quickly. We weren't looking to rope drop anything at Hollywood Studios. We were just kind of going over there to have lunch, and we wanted to experience this new thing over at Star Wars Galaxy's Edge with our Magic Band Plus. That was kind of what our goal was. And we ended up doing something else there, we'll talk about in a second. So we checked out, just drove straight over to Epcot, Disney's Hollywood Studios, got into the park and beelined over to Batuu, and that's where we played the Batuu Bounty Hunters game with our Magic Band Pluses.
Yeah. So, in a word, what did you think?
I thought it was a lot of fun.
That's a word?
In
a
fun.
Single. There you go.
Wizard. How's that? It was a great time. I mean, it's nothing too elaborate, but it's kind of fun. And here's what you do. I'm not going to give away all the details of the game, but you go in and there's a point in the parks. You're going to have it helps to have the Play Disney app. I don't think you absolutely have to have it, but it helps to have it to play the game. You definitely have to have a Magic Band Plus to play the game. You go to a part of the park and you will go up to a board and you will tap it with your Magic Band Plus, similarly to what you would do if you were tapping into the park. And then a screen will be there, and the first time you play it, it'll kind of give you an idea of how you play the game.
Right.
It'll lay it all out there, and then it'll give you your first bounty, who you're looking for. And then you will kind of follow your Magic Band Plus through the park. It will pulse or vibrate, and it'll be green when you're essentially going hotter, and go red when you're going colder. You're trying to find a doorway that behind it is your bounty.
Right.
And so you kind of go to these various different doorways, kind of led a little bit by your Magic Band until it glows purple when you have actually found that one. And then you can either just scan it there, and that's one way you can do it. But if you want to use the Play Disney app, you can there's the part there that has the Bounty Hunters game, and it'll go up and you can kind of look at it, and it'll show you your bounty kind of behind the door there for you. Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, like you said, we don't want to give away too many spoilers. We want it to be a fun experience. I think the main thing to know is that you do have to find the location where, for everybody, there's one location where you actually acquire your instructions of which bounty you're after, and that starts the game. And that was the one thing I did notice. A lot of people, like when we were finding our bounties and everything, people were asking like, hey, I have the Magic Band Plus. Where do I go?
Right.
How do I start this? Because they were seeing us find something. It's like, is this where we start? And it isn't. So that's one thing is, finding that board, that location where you actually get your assignments.
Yeah. It's not tough to find. It's just off the marketplace, kind of near across the little pathway there from where Ronto Roasters is. You'll see a little line there.
Yeah, you'll see a line.
Sometimes a longer line of people there checking in. You will return there after you've found your bounty to another site, and you will kind of get your arm scanned, and the person collecting the bounties will, give you a little message and give you your credits, and then you can go and scan and try for the next bounty.
Yeah, you can play the game more than once.
Right.
But yeah, the My Disney the Play Disney app really enhances the it does for other things too.
Right.
So it's good to have that available with your Magic Band Plus and battery backup.
Yeah, battery backup for sure, because it will eat the Play Disney app especially will eat up your battery on your phone or your device. But I'm just telling you that if you are concerned and you want to play it and you don't want to eat up your battery, you can still play the game without having to use the Play Disney app. It just does enhance it if you want to do so. But we did that like 4 times. We got 4 bounties.
Yeah,
it was good and it was a lot of fun. And it's just another thing that you can kind of do. You know, if you've done the attractions, if you've eaten your Ronto wrap, you know, and it's good to get the whole family involved in. And, it's just kind of another way to explore Galaxy's Edge, which is one of the things I really like to do.
Yeah, it's fun. And as you're going around looking for your bounty, you get to see other things happening. And so, it's definitely a cute little addition that they have. Love it.
For sure. So we did that. We will be doing that again. That was a lot of fun. Then we went, it was time for our reservation. Went to
we didn't say who got more credits.
You did by like 100 credits more. Yes. Michelle had the higher bounties than I did. I started off on the head as I usually do. And then she quickly forget you and left me in the dust.
No, it really is just random based on what bounties, different bounties give you different amount of credits. And so I just teased him.
Right. And by the way, I didn't see a cutoff on how many you can get. I know we saw some people in line or us that had received 15 bounties already. You know, I mean, I don't know how much time they've done that. And, you know, we were there for an hour and we did 4 bounties, you know, but there were people that had a lot. Yeah. So you can keep going with it, you know, and I think you can come back and I believe it keeps track of it if you come back on another day. So I just know that going in. So anyway, headed over to Sci-Fi, checked in. It was so good to get back into Sci-Fi Dine-In again. It's been way too long since we've been there. It's such a fun space.
Always good memories. I think I was telling you that at the table or at the car, it seems like every time I've had an opportunity to go there, it's been with special people and always have very nice, fun memories. It's
just the food is good for one, you know, I mean, it's burgers, it's fries, it's onion rings, it's typical, you know, dine-in type food, you know, but it's good and the food is good. And just the atmosphere in there as you're in these cars watching these old B-movie clips and stuff. And it's just fun. It's just that entertainment value that you don't find at a lot of restaurants.
Right. It was also good, don't you think, seeing the cast members were very much in character.
Yeah, really involved with it and had a great time with that. We ended up doing the same burger, each of us, because it sounded really, really good, and it was really, really good.
Yeah.
We did the feature film burger, which is kind of a specialty burger for that day. This day, it was a surf and turf burger. Essentially, it was a regular beef burger topped with a crab and shrimp cake. And it had some caramelized onions and a chipotle aioli. It was delicious.
It really was. Yeah. Typically we like to try different dishes so that we can talk about different things, but like you said, it was the one of the day, and even we figured the other things on the menu we could try another time. Right. Yeah, for sure.
We did get, I got onion rings, you got fries. And so we were able to kind of share those and go through them, and they were delicious as well. It's just a great time. Again, this place will be fantastic just for the entertainment value of sitting in there and watching this. But the fact that the food is really great there as well. If you can make it for your trip, I know it's difficult to get into Sci-Fi from time to time, but as you saw, even on the last day, you might still, be able to luck into it. Definitely take advantage of it, because it is, especially if you've never gone or if you haven't gone in a long time, it is always so much fun to be in that space.
Yeah. And it's impressive how they work it, that you're really only seeing everything approximately once. You might see a little crossover, but it just seems like the timing that they have it so that you don't have to watch the same things over and over.
Right. For sure. So we ate, and then we're trying to figure out, well, we got a little more time till our room is ready. What do we want to do? It's hot outside. Do we want to walk around in the heat? It's Disney's Hollywood Studios. All the attractions have super long waits. Right. We want to do that. And then I looked down and I'm like, hey, you know what's coming up here in about a half an hour? We might be able to make it into
what?
Something we haven't gone to in a very long time. And that, matter of fact, just returned recently.
What is it?
The Indiana Jones Epic Stunt Spectacular Show. We had not done that in a long time. It had just returned just a couple of months ago, finally, after a long hiatus, of course, with, like a lot of the entertainment had due to COVID. So we're like, let's go and see if we can get in. we got in really easily, got fantastic seats.
Yeah, it was one of those, again, lucky that just as we were entering the rows, they broke off and said, okay, now start this area. And it brought us right to the front.
Right to the front. Just had a great aisle seat, front row.
Right.
It was just ended up perfect. Again, things falling into place, like Michelle was mentioning. And it was just great. And it was, that show is always fun. It's just, it's kind of, it's that full on back to the MGM Studios days,
Right.
of the studios. It's a little bit of Universal, it makes me, because I used to go to Universal Studios Hollywood all the
Right.
time, and that's kind of the way it used to be there. It was they would do stuff like that, and more than now, it's more about the attractions than the actual movie making experience. Although they say it is, it's not as much as it used to be, and it is still, but it's not as much as it used to be. And this kind of brings me back to all of that.
Sure.
And so I just had a great time watching the stunts and the show all at the same time.
Yeah. It's just, and you're covered. It's cool. It's not air conditioned, but it's definitely away from the heat. But yeah, just a really, like you said, nostalgic show.
So I had a lot of fun. Everything went great with that. Enjoyed it very much. And then lo and behold, we got out of there. We were walking towards the shops to just go check out a few things. And hey, we got the buzz. Our room at Kidani Village was ready. So, there really wasn't much else we wanted to do at the studios. So we were like, okay, you know what? Let's go ahead and get to our room. Right. So we drove over to there, checked into our room. And as usual, the Savannah views at the, when you get a Savannah view room at right. the Disney's Animal Kingdom Lodge, they're just excellent. Yeah. It's just, as soon as you walk out there, there's animals everywhere. Right. And it's nice. It's really nice.
Yeah. If you've never been there before, don't expect it to be like a ton of animals though. It's, they space them out so that different ones are coming out from time to time. But you do always see animals.
Yeah. They kind of come out in waves. Like, here will be the here come the zebras, there'll suddenly be some zebras out. Then a little bit later, here come the giraffes, I mean, there's always something out there. There's a couple of ostrich out there, a couple of different springboks, kind of African deer, stuff like that. But it's funny how they will just suddenly be waves of different animals.
Right. But they come and go.
Yeah. But it's really enjoyable. Highly recommended. The point is not that bad because you're so far away from a lot of the other parks. Right. The point structure for DVC members is not that bad for a deluxe resort with these great views. It's high on our list of our favorite resorts to go and spend some time. Especially if you're not going to do a ton of, I'm going to be at the parks every day, all the time, because there is so much of that entertainment value from watching the animals stuff there. If you're going to spend more time in your room, it's a great space to be at. Or
doing some of the activities that they do, that they provide guests that are there for sure. Yeah. And like you said, I think the main reason behind that is just the amount of time and how to get to other parks. You either, it's a bus for the complimentary, it's bus. But whether you decide, like if you have a car, you can drive or ride share or something like that. But yeah, it's definitely a unique location.
Right. Too. For sure. So spent some time there, cooled off, and waited until it got to about the evening. And we were actually waiting for the rain to come, and it didn't actually ever come until maybe really late at night. It didn't. So we headed back over to Epcot at around 6-ish. Went in, and again, people were already either getting staged for Harmonious or they had already left the parks because we were able to pretty much walk right on to Spaceship Earth when we got there. We walked right on to Living with the Land. Yeah. Pretty much the attractions that were busy were all around World Showcase, I think, as people were getting set for Harmonious, like I said, nearing 8:00. So we, instead of going there, we did the Sea with Nemo and Friends, just because we hadn't done it in a while. It's hokey, it's goofy, but it was fun to kind of go through it again. And you end up in the aquarium, and it's always fun to walk through the aquarium.
Yeah, and seeing like all the kids enjoy it and everything just reminded me that I haven't had Scott out there in a long time, so fun things to see out there as well.
Right. So we got done a little bit early from that, and we decided, let's go ahead and check into our reservation for Space 220 a little bit early. And it was good because we got pretty much right into Space 220. We were really excited to do this. And, got in there, checked in, you get a boarding pass, and then you go into the elevator that takes you 220 miles up. I won't give you too many spoilers away. But Michelle, what were your thoughts on the elevator?
The elevator was great experience. But I think it was created by Phineas and Ferb.
Why is that?
Well, because I guess I was thinking, I never really thought too much about it. I was thinking a launch, but this was an elevator that took you up. And it was
only Phineas and Ferb could
they could only create something that would go on that long.
It's great. It was a lot of fun. You get some great views in it. It totally vibed me, like I mentioned last week when we were doing our space episode. It vibed for me. Mission to the Mars, rocket to the moon, that kind of feel.
You look down, you look up.
Yeah, it was really cool, and it was fun. And then you get out of there and you walk into this area, and it's just all this outer space right in front of you in this restaurant. It was really fun. The atmosphere was cool.
Yeah, and all the cast members are so nice. Now, they are not Disney cast members technically, but they definitely brought the friendliness, the helpfulness, the smiles. So it was great to see that continuity was there.
Yeah. Great time. The food, I'm just going to say right now, it's not just about the atmosphere there. The food was wonderful.
Right.
Really love the food there.
Right.
It's not cheap, but it's really good.
Right. If I know that at the lounge, you can try different appetizers along with cocktails and wine and beer and stuff like that. For the dinner, it's a structured meal. Right. You can upgrade some things if you choose to, but it really is, like you said, it's top-notch quality food.
Right. For lunch, it's a 2-course Prix Fix. Right. And for dinner, it's a 3-course. We were doing dinner, of course. The price for that is $79 per guest for the Prix Fix menu, and you get an appetizer, an entree, and a dessert with it. And I think we enjoyed every single one of our dishes. We ordered different dishes for each thing, so we could sample a little bit of everything, and we enjoyed it all. Yeah.
We had a wonderful server at our table. She was so helpful, answering a lot of questions, giving, suggestions. Clearly, an entity that makes sure their employees know what things taste like, what pairs well with things, how spicy is something, things like that.
Yeah, very knowledgeable, very helpful.
For
sure.
So, feel free to really give them all the questions that you're thinking of, so you can order the right dish.
Right. So for appetizers, we got Michelle got the Blue Moon cauliflower, which is a tempura fried cauliflower with house-made hot sauce and blue cheese dust. That was a fantastic appetizer. Really good.
Yeah. I mean, it was interesting how they were trying to take the tastes of like hot wings and convert it to a plant-based entity, which was really fabulous.
Yeah. Highly recommend that one. I got the Starry Calamari, which is fried calamari, Italian cherry pepper, spicy marinara, roasted pepper, citrus aioli. That was also good, but of the two dishes, Michelle's the cauliflower, highly recommend. I recommend that much more strongly. And even if you're not a big cauliflower fan, you would hardly recognize that it's cauliflower.
Yeah.
It is really, really good.
Right. You wouldn't. Yeah, I agree. And, the calamari was great, like you said, but it was good. It just wasn't as good as the cauliflower. It's not as unique for sure, but it was good.
Yeah, it was good. For our entrees, Michelle did the galactic salmon, which had glazed carrots, miyatake mushrooms, baby bok choy, and a ginger beurre blanc. I got the slow rotation short ribs, which were braised short ribs with cheddar grits, bacon, haricots verts, and they actually had some of the glazed carrots that Michelle had on my dish as well. Again, both very good. Again, Michelle had the better dish, in my opinion. The salmon was really, really good.
Yeah, the salmon was really, really good. It was excellent with the beurre blanc on it. I think yours, it depends on what your taste buds. And that night, we were chatting, and it was like I was having some struggle whether I wanted red meat or the salmon, because initially I had already thought I was just going to order the salmon. It was fabulous. The funny thing about it is, typically bok choy to me is a what if, it's good, but this one was delicious. I really enjoyed this one that accompanied the salmon.
It's also cool that it comes kind of, I don't know if we want to tip it off at how it's served to you, the salmon, but there's a little presentation that's really cool on how they do it.
And I wish I'd taken a picture. It was like, as soon as it was done, I was like, oh,
Yeah. If you like salmon, great dish,
Mm-hmm.
especially with the little Asian flair to it. Really, really good. It's a little French-Asian combination there with the beurre blanc,
Right.
along with it.
Yeah.
It's really, really good. As far as the short ribs, they were tender. They were mostly, I think they could have done with a little better seasoning. When you got the bacon in with it, when
Mm-hmm. Right.
the cheddar grits are really good. When you got the bacon in there with it, it kind of balanced out some of the lack of seasoning that the short ribs had.
Mm-hmm.
It was good. Again, the same thing. It was good. Just Michelle had the better dish, in my opinion, of the two.
The challenge we have when it comes to short ribs is when you've had the best, none of the rest come close. And yours are always the most flavorful and most tender. He has them on Disney dishes. I highly recommend you recreate them. By far, every time we've tried spare ribs, short ribs, I've always said the same thing. Good, not as good as yours.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Again, these are very good.
For sure.
And I enjoy, almost always, I enjoy a good short rib. So I will almost always try it if it's on the menu somewhere. And these are good. They just weren't as good as Michelle's dish, in my opinion. And finally, for dessert, they call them the Supernova Sweets. Michelle got the carrot cake, which is carrot cake, cream cheese, candied walnuts, toasted papitas, which are basically pumpkin seeds. And I got the shortcake, which is a matcha air cake with mascarpone mousse and strawberries. I thought both were phenomenal for different reasons.
Right. Yeah. And was kind of wondering, like, the server did say she recommended both of these dishes for the dessert course. I was thinking carrot cake, that's just so run of the mill. I love carrot cake, but it's like that doesn't scream unique, but it was.
Yeah.
It wasn't that sweet. It was even the candied, was it walnuts?
They have walnuts and pepitas.
Yeah. Those were great, but they weren't like, when you get them, like the kind that you think of like from Buc-ee's or a fair or something like that.
Super sweet.
Super sweet. They weren't. They really just complemented the cheesecake. The carrot cake so wonderfully.
Yeah, it had a nice balance of the carrot cake was moist, and it was the cream cheese had just that right bit of tartness to it that you get out of a good cream cheese, frosting, and the spice level. Because bottom line, carrot cake is a spice cake, and you get a really nice spice out of it that you want from a carrot cake. It was really, really good. The shortcake was really light and refreshing and beautiful. You get the strawberries, this mascarpone mousse, which is you'd almost confuse it with a cheesecake filling because it was that good. And then the matcha cake was just like if you're looking for something lighter, more fresh, more vibrant, it's a good way to go. The carrot cake but I suggest, like we did, trying both things because they're both very, very good.
Right. And they had some other great choices. It was a little tough.
It was tough
for the dessert course. And in fact, if she hadn't really highly recommended these, she was also recommending, she said their sorbets and gelatos are made on property, and she said they're great. And it was kind of tempting to want to try one of those too.
Yeah. It was great. The meal was great. The atmosphere was great. We were, unfortunately, on a little bit of a side table right up front. We thought at first we're going to be right up front. Right. This is going to be great. We're going to have such a great view. And we did. We had a good view. Enjoyed it. We saw lots of interesting things go on in the space around us. I think if we were to do it again, we decided that we would try and ask for a view that's a little bit farther back anyway, so we can take it more in. There was some reflection of the lights on the screen there on the windows that made it look like it kind of hampered a little bit of the view. Where we were on the side, you couldn't see the earth below as well. So I think that if we were to ask again, next time we were to go up there, we would probably try and get something a little bit farther back. They've kind of got where the front is kind of a sunken area. Right. So there's stairs down to this area, and there's an elevated area that has more of the main dining room area. And if you could ask for some of those tables, I think right on the edge there, those seem to be kind of that, the best place to actually get a good view of everything going on.
Right. Yeah. Totally echo what you said. We thought being right up against the windows would be the best view. But like you said, there was some distraction
A
from
little bit of a glare.
right
Yeah.
in glare. And it was funny because looking across the room at other windows that were farther away, it's like, that looks more realistic, and because you're not getting
It
that
was
other,
realistic. We were 220 miles up, honey.
well, I know, but I mean, that looks more like what you'd expect,
Right.
because you weren't it was dark space, and then you saw what was happening outside, whereas we were seeing a lot of lights
Right.
in addition to.
Again, nothing to complain
No,
about.
right.
It was a great
Just
dinner.
giving people tips of what to
Right.
think about, or what to expect. Like if you get there, again, you're still going to have a great seat and see fun things, but just remember that and don't think that that's necessarily the optimal.
Right. It can't hurt to ask. If
Right.
you can get a table in one of these areas, I think you will have a better experience. Again, we had a great experience.
Yes.
But it could even be improved more if you got one of these tables
Right.
in these locations. And
Right.
that may not be right for you.
Right.
You may enjoy the ones up close more than we did. But we had a great time either way. So
Yeah.
either way. So that was pretty much it. We went out. We were able to finally see Spaceship Earth at night, because we had not been able to since they've added the beacon of
Right.
light, or whatever they're calling it now. We have not been able to see it since it's been all lit up at night, and it was good to see it. It was stunning. Took
Yes.
lots of pictures. We had some pictures taken in front of it,
Right.
and that was great, because basically the park was closed by the time we got out of there.
Yeah. The 99% of the crowds were gone because Harmonious had finished, and so it was just some of the people who had stuck around a little bit longer, or like with us, we figured we were among the last group seated. So I think 820 is probably their last.
Yeah,
seating.
I would think it'd be pretty close to, if not their last. Yeah.
Right.
So.
So.
But it was great. It was great seeing Spaceship Earth. Spaceship Earth has always been stunning. It is really beautiful now at night.
Yeah.
If you have not seen it since they've added that to it.
Right. And it just with, again, with the park being emptied, it just seemed kind of very low key. It wasn't that hype anymore. It had the music that was complementing some of the changing lights on the globe there. And it was just really kind of a fun mood of just kind of easing into nighttime.
Yes. Speaking of nighttime, we had to get back to our room because we had to get up very early the next day. So we went back to our room that night, got some sleep, got up early, and then it was literally trekking off to Disney's Animal Kingdom Park, because we had our Wild Africa trek set for early that morning.
Yeah. We had to get up early, get ready, get packed, because we weren't going to be back in time before checkout. So get our room emptied out and everything. And head over, which fortunately it's not that far away from the Animal Kingdom.
Yeah, that was part of the idea behind getting this booked, and we wanted to make sure and get it done early because it is hot during the day, and we know the animals are out more in the morning, so we wanted to try and get the first one if we could, and Michelle again successful.
Well, I mean, that was another one of those things, like this was relatively, like we said, last minute trip. The fact that we had Animal Kingdom, and the only available day for getting the trek was for our last day. So it was kind of really like, wow, this is working out. Our last day, we're checking out, we can go. And that they had that reservation for the earliest bookings of that day. And I thought, okay, hopefully earlier morning will probably be a little cooler, more the animals just starting to get moving around and stuff, that would work. And I think we got the last, well, maybe they had room for 2 more people.
Either way, we got it. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
And it was great. I'm telling you, this is one of my favorite tours we've ever done. The Wild Africa Trek at Disney's Animal Kingdom Park. Highly suggest you, if you can book an early one. It's cooler during these hot days, and the animals are out more. There's no guarantees on what animals you'll see, just like if you're on the Kilimanjaro safaris, there's no guarantees. But they do a great job. It was great. We had some wonderful guides. They bring you in and they harness you to begin with, because you're going to go over some interesting areas. They make sure that, they go over some safety talks with you. They make sure you're equipped. You put everything away because they don't want anything falling out on the savannah out there. And they also don't want like some certain things, like we came pretty close to the crocs, being able to grab you from anywhere out there.
Yeah. They definitely don't want anybody to say, hey, I lost this out there, because it's just too bad.
Right.
How sad. So they really emphasize that you have to empty everything out of your pockets. The only things that you're allowed to carry is you can carry a cell phone, that they give you something to attach it to. And if you have medications that you need, they allow you to take that. But anything else, they really are like, no, don't take it.
Hats, glasses you can bring.
Yeah, they give you something.
Yeah, they give you a little thing, that you can put around your neck to kind of hold your glasses in place so they won't fall off your head or whatever. So you can bring all those things, but everything else pretty much is going to a locker. They provide you a locker when you're there. They get you all harnessed up because you are going to be going over some treacherous areas, so to speak. I mean, Disney treacherous, but treacherous areas. And then they take you, throughout this area. You first start with the Gorilla Falls.
Before you get
trail.
into that, one of the things I want to point out that you noticed, which again, safety is their main concern, is so somebody is harnessing you up and they're checking to make sure everything is hooked up correctly. But then you said there's a tag that when they do a second check, right?
There's a little carabiner on you that they make sure that everybody's gone through the second check. They take it off of you and they hang it somewhere that if you have that carabiner still on you haven't been checked for a second time yet. It's kind of a make sure that this has been done thing.
Right. And then anytime you're going to be using where you're going to hook up, they check you again. Mm-hmm. So we were checked at least 4 times.
Oh, more than that. Yeah. We were checked several times. Yeah. And it was good. You go down the kind of the Gorilla Falls area, and then they take you off on a side trail there. If you're going to do this, there is some physicality to it. I wouldn't say it's overwhelming physicality, but you are going over some hilly areas that are a little bit treacherous, going over, you're in a kind of a muddy trail. That has a lot of roots and everything that you have to keep an eye on.
And they do say rain or shine.
Yeah.
This is going to go on. The only time they hold it up or stop it is if there's thunder and lightning.
Right. But it's not like with this trail where you're going to be exhausted at the end of it. It's hot. You do get some special things that we won't give away here that do help you along your path.
Right. And they do make sure you're hydrated. They have water stops along the way.
Yeah. It's a physical, but it's not like this ridiculously physical where you're absolutely exhausted at the end.
Yeah, no. The most, I think the thing, like you're saying, going through some of those areas that could be muddy and everything, you could slip.
Yeah. And you could trip over those roots.
You could trip over the roots and stuff like that, but you're not going to.
But you just pay attention and you're good. They give you an earpiece and the guides are talking to you through and so you can hear everything very well. So even if you're a little bit farther back from them and they're watching both sides of you, one leading, one following to make sure everybody's safe and doing well. And, you stop off and you see some various different animals. They have some other guides along the path that will explain what's going on. Mm-hmm. We saw all sorts of animals really up close. We saw some hippos really up close. Yeah. The crocs really up close, and then there are just various other animals that were along the way. You go over a couple of rope bridges. That's really where they want you. They're harnessing for some other key areas of it, but that's really where the harness is specifically for. Right. Because they obviously don't want to see you falling there, but you're perfectly safe the whole time. If you do have some height issues, I guess it could bother you, but as long as you feel safe, because I'm telling you, there's no way you're falling off of this thing. I mean, you could fall, but you're not going anywhere. It's fully netted. It's very strong and make it look a little rickety, but it's all illusion. Right.
Like I said, you could trip on some of these things, like even, going over the suspension bridge. I thought a couple times I might, because, just some of them, they have different spacing, they make it kind of have that dramatic look, but you're looking at it, first of all, the suspension bridge is all wires and cords.
Completely safe.
But if you're short or if you're, a kid, I don't think you can be less than 10.
Yeah.
8 or 10, something like that.
You have to be at least 48 inches tall.
Yeah, because you have to, some of the steps between some of the planks is a little bit more distant. So if you're shorter, like I had to look and say, okay, I got to stretch a little bit to get there.
When I was crossing the bridge, I saw a couple of these steps that I had to stretch for a little bit to get to. And I'm like, Michelle really had a tough time getting across this one.
Yeah. I mean, it's like you got to almost like stop and plan it because there's only 2 people on the bridge at a time. They make you space. And it's like, okay, I knew you were behind me, and just by normal walking, you're going to make it move. And it's like, okay, I got to plan for stretch and be able to plant my foot down.
I wanted to start jumping on the bridge just to freak you out a little bit, but I didn't do it.
Next time we do it, I'll go behind you and I'll.
Yeah, they do give a lot. Like they have a system for everything that they do where there is any concern at all about you, that they check and double and triple check and make sure you're secured in and everything else. So know that going in, you're perfectly safe. But it's still, you have that adventure to it, even though you're perfectly safe throughout it. There is that little bit of exhilaration as you're going through some of these areas.
And there's enough guides there that, in the way they even space themselves, that I think if you were having trouble going across the bridge, they would be able to go out and walk with you across it. It's not an obstacle bridge. So it's not like, some of these treks where you can do and you have to it gets super narrow in some places or whatever. It's just a regular.
Not doing rings at one part.
Yeah. It's a regular suspension bridge, but like I said, metal reinforced, etc., netting, and you have
you get some spectacular views of. You can see the safaris going around beneath you. You get to see some of the waterfalls and the ponds and just the space out there, and it's really really cool.
Yeah.
So you do that, and you do the whole trek, and the guides are talking to you, explaining what's going on and explaining the animals you see along the way. Eventually you make it to where you get into a truck, and they take you out on the savannah itself, and you get to experience the animals maybe a little bit closer than you do with the safaris, and they can kind of direct you into specific areas as well. And that's really cool. And then they take you to a little savannah stop where you're just overlooking there, and then they serve you a nice, what they call a snack, but it was closer to almost a lunch size snack. It was a lot of food, pog juice, which if you love pog juice, you get some here, and just a really pleasant day.
Yeah. It's served really cute, canteen style and everything like that. But they, are really trying to use, whether it's influences of Africa through spices, etc., that the chefs who have prepared this really make sure you have a more unique experience.
Yeah, very fresh, vibrant little menu in there. There's lots of little different things to try through it. That just kind of fits to the setting, and knowing you're probably hot and you've been walking and sweating a little bit, it's very cool. It's a kind of a cooling menu for you there, and it's great. We got to sit with this lovely couple, Mike and Jessica, who they were on their honeymoon. Getting set to go on a Disney cruise, and we just had a wonderful conversation with them.
Yeah.
And, it was great. The whole thing, they take pictures of you throughout it, and those are included in the price.
Right.
So you don't have to, have a photo pass, as part of your ticket or anything like that. They will give you a card at the end, and you can go in and get all the pictures, and including some extra pictures of animals and everything else. And it's great. The one thing I was mentioned to you is that, I could see where this is something you could do over again, and it'd be a slightly different experience every time, because you don't know what animals you run into, how close they'll be to you or whatever. We got lucky this time. We had like a rhino right next to us. Right. The lions were active when we were there. The giraffes were right by us. We really got lucky on our animals this time. Not always the case, but we got lucky.
Right, exactly. And they talked about some other experience some other people had that was different too, and I'm sure different times of day that you're going, you're probably, going to see things a little differently depending on how the sun is shining on different things or whatever, and just how it looks. But yeah, it's more than just going behind the scenes of the safari ride. You really get, more unique views, explanation. It's a small group.
I think we had 12.
Yeah. I feel like 12 is their max, although I don't know. When I was looking at the things, the hooks, look like they could go to 14. But anyways, they do keep it a small group. Maybe that was our guides.
Yeah.
Maybe that's how it is.
probably
Yeah. That it is. It is popular, that I think it usually does
Sell
out. It's not cheap. There is discounts if you're annual pass holders or DVC members, things like that. So it really is great that, and they right away get to know your names. And that's why we laugh about Henry, because that is your official first name, even though we go by your middle name. Right. So I think it's funny that, like your name tag, because when you sign up, even for Disney annual pass, you have to give your ID name and stuff like that. So I'd be calling you Tom, and they'd be calling you Henry, and then you could tell that they were like, huh? Tom.
A little bit of confusion there.
Yeah, they probably think we bought and sold your ticket or something.
Yeah. Or you snuck some guy with you,
I know.
not the regular guy. Who did you get on there? No,
you have to show ID when you get there.
Our guides, Rachel, Julie, and Megan, were fantastic.
Yes.
Very personable. Great with explaining everything as we went out there. Very knowledgeable.
Right.
Really, really enjoyed them. They helped make, as the cast members always do, help make this experience that much better.
Right.
Again, you're getting up and close and personal with the animals a little bit more than you do on the regular Kilimanjaro safaris, but also there's this adventure aspect to it that's a lot of fun. Again, not cheap, but if you want to splurge on a tour and you don't mind and you want to do something a little more adventurous, highly recommend this tour.
Right. Yeah. It's slated to take about 3 hours, and I think that's about
what it took.
In addition to your guides, like Tom mentioned, as you're going to different areas, you are seeing some of the caretakers for some of those animals that, give you a little overview, and then they're there to answer questions. So we met several other cast members along the way.
I think Michelle and Paula, I believe, were the two that we met.
Yeah.
I think we also had Sammy, our driver.
Yeah, Sammy, our driver. Who was with the hippos?
That was Michelle.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
I can't believe you didn't remember.
I know. I was thinking
with one L.
Well,
yeah, you
that's
remember
right.
it was one L.
With one L, and because there was also another guest on the tour whose name was Michelle. Right. So, but yeah, they right away got to know all our names, and it was nice that they were, very much engaged with us. Surprisingly, as much as they are, hired to do the tour, that they know about the animals, they also did great job with photography.
Yeah. We had some great, it was, considering that's not their main position within that they took some really great pictures.
Yeah, I was actually more pleased with some of their pictures than some of the
Disney photographers, the PhotoPass photographers. I'm really happy with all those pictures. There were a ton of great pictures that we had, and I put a few out there on social media yesterday.
Which is really nice, because even though you can take your phone out and take pictures, like they capture some things that would be hard, like when you're on the suspension bridge, and just some, things like where they took pictures of us together, and stuff like that. That would be a little less.
Yeah. And it was also nice to be able to, I'm one of those people that falls into the trap of that I need to photo and video a lot of things, and so, I sometimes will, I'm not going to say miss experiences, but maybe distract from experiences a little bit. So this is like, I just decided on this one. It's like, they want me to put the phone away, and have it secured and everything. It's like this time I know they're taking pictures of all the good stuff. Right. I'm not even going to really bother. I don't even know if I took more than 1 or 2 pictures the entire time from my phone, because I knew they were going to do that, and really happy with the results. They came through great pictures.
Right. Yeah, I think the only pictures we really took was when we stopped at the area where we had the food and things like that.
I think we took a selfie early on before we actually started. And then, like maybe I took something, when we went in the truck, I think I took a couple pictures because we were, we had, we didn't have to have the phone as secured when we were in the truck or whatever. But
although I was sitting next to them and I saw them taking pictures like crazy. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, that's why I didn't worry about, they're going to get better pictures than I am from my phone. So,
they had a real camera too.
Yeah, exactly. So it was great. Again, highly recommended. If you have any more questions about it, hit us up. We'd be happy to answer any of them. Fine. So wrap that up. We didn't have a lot more that we wanted to do there at Animal Kingdom Park that day. It was starting to get hot, but we did want to go check out because we hadn't seen it in a long time, and they had revamped it, and just it hadn't been that long since it's been open again. So we went and did the Finding Nemo, the Big Blue and Beyond show,
Right.
the Finding Nemo musical, essentially. Got in there. And what did you think about that show, Michelle?
I really liked it. I liked the original one too. But again, I've said this multiple times on our podcast. The puppetry that they utilize for their shows is always so impressive, so amazing. It's not distracting at all. It really is enhanced storytelling with their use of puppetry. But you kind of get the blend of the cast member that's actually manipulating the puppets and things like that, and their voice is coming through. But it's a symbiotic complement of how they storytell. Yeah.
So they've changed it. Basically, they've kind of truncated the show from what it was before. I think it used to be more around 40, 45 minutes. Now it's about 25 minutes, I think. They kind of are telling it from a point of view of the fish that were in the dentist's office that escaped in the bags, and they're kind of retelling the story. You still get all the songs you love and everything, and they'll still are telling the story of Finding Nemo. They're just doing it in a little different way and allowing it not to take so much of your time in the park to be in the show. So, I mean, it's not as full as the original show was, but it still is a great show just as it is, in my opinion. Anyway.
Right. And really talented cast members. I mean, the quality of their voices definitely match anything we've seen on Broadway.
Yeah. The stage is set up really well with a lot of, video work and to make it feel like you're under the sea. And then, like Michelle mentioned, the puppetry is spectacular.
Yeah.
Really enjoyable. Again, if you're looking for another thing to do, and especially get out of the heat, it really, I recommend you popping into this show and checking it out. Again, it's only 25 minutes out of your day.
Very colorful.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Kids will love it. Go enjoy it for sure. So we just kind of, after that, we just walked around the park a little bit more and decided, you know what, we're good. Let's go ahead and back. We want to get some stuff done back at the house that I haven't been able to help with. So we decided to call it a day, and that was our trip to Walt Disney World. It was great getting back, having a few days there. Since I had come out here with you, we have not had, that time where we were able to spend multiple days out at the parks. It's still a short trip, but it was good to get out there and have that experience. I mean, if we did 4 parks, essentially, not much in 4 parks, but we did 4 parks in 3 days.
Right, and 2 hotels. And yeah, I mean, it was, like you said, it was a great way to get back to revisit the parks, to celebrate you're getting a new job, and trying some, either new things or, unique to us or revamped things. Right. So it was all in all really fun. Yeah.
Great time. And if you have any questions about any of the things we talked about, I know we kind of went over things, some at length, some a little more briefly, but
you were really talking.
Yes. I actually have energy this episode where I haven't had it for the last 3 months. If you have any questions about it, please hit us up through the social media accounts, through our Gmail. We'd be happy to answer any of them. Now, we talked a long time about this stuff, so let's go ahead and quickly get to our Disney stories of the week. I only have a couple for you this week, but I'm going to start with, it's now easier to share your love for the amazing cast members at the happiest place on earth. This from the Disney Parks blog. They said, cast members have received countless recognitions over the years through guest letters, emails, and thousands of posts we see on social media using #CastCompliment. And now the popular mobile cast compliment feature is available in the Disneyland app. Yes. The app now offers a convenient digital way for Disneyland Resort guests to show their gratitude to the cast members that are the heart of the resort. Now, to access the mobile cast compliment feature, just search Cast Compliment in the Disneyland app. Guests will then be able to choose a positive sentiment from a drop-down menu. From there, they can either enter the cast member's first name and hometown, which they can find, of course, on all their badges, and the date of their interaction. The recognized cast member will be alerted along with their leader, and they can receive a recognition. If you didn't catch their name, that's okay. You can still share a compliment about the location or area of where your magic happened. Now, what I would suggest is going ahead and going on the app. I think that's the easiest way in the way they're going to know about it for sure. But also go on your social media channels and do it that way too. And, and spread the love that way as well. But that's so great. I know they've already been doing it at Walt Disney World. I'm glad they're doing it at Disneyland now as well to make it easier to, share the love for these wonderful cast members.
Right.
So the story, by the way, said that Walt Disney World launched the mobile cast compliments during the world's most magical celebration in October of 2021 and has already garnered over 360,000 recognitions. That's a great number. Yes. There should be even more.
Yeah, that's true.
So get on there and recognize those cast members that make our trips also memorable.
Special,
For sure. So my other story for the week is if you're thinking about a cruise adventure through a galaxy far, far away in the coming year, well, we have some news you'll want to hear. Again, back to the Disney Parks blog, they say if you've been waiting to cruise the galaxy, now's your chance. Most 2023 voyages are now available to view on StarWarsGalacticStarCruiser.com. Yes, the schedule for the 2023 is up, and you're going to be able to start booking them this week. Now, for all of you, we know we have many Club 33 and Golden Oak members that listen to the show. You already know you can already start booking, so this is old news for you. But for everybody else, Disney Vacation Club members, you can start booking on Tuesday, August 30th. Followed by Walt Disney World annual pass holders who can start booking on Wednesday, August 31st of this year. And then everybody else, if you're looking to book, you can start booking beginning on September 1st. So if you're thinking about doing this, you've been saving up, it's your dream thing because it's a lot of money, but it looks amazing.
Yes.
Your chance to book them are coming up. And, a lot of those sailings, a lot of these cruises did sell out last year. It wouldn't surprise me if they do again this year because people who have gone on it have said great things about it.
Yeah, exactly.
About the trip. So
cool. Definitely
take advantage of that. I don't know if we're going to do it in the next year. We are making plans to do it very soon, but we are going to be taking a look at it just the same when it's coming up here to decide if this is the year or if it's going to be the next year. But we will be doing it. And when we do it, we will, of course, tell you all about it.
Yes, exactly.
Yes. So that's it for the Disney stories of the week. However, we never leave you without giving you some sort of tip that might help you on your next vacation. And when we do this, well, we always start with Michelle because she's awesome, wonderful, all things good. She does the best research. She has the best lists. Apparently, she catches the best bounties.
That was just like a draw, just teasing you.
But she also definitely has the very best tip. So let's get to it. Here's Michelle's tip of the week.
Well, thank you, sweetie. So my tip is, if you've probably heard with the annual passes are not being sold right now for Walt Disney World. You can renew the current same level of pass. You cannot do an upgrade right now. But let's say you had a little one that you didn't even need a ticket for who is now turning 3. And you're like, oh my God, what can we do? I guess we could buy day tickets or whatever. But actually, that's one of the exceptions that Disney does allow for a new pass holder. So if you have a current Disney World pass, annual pass, and it's still within your year and you have a little one who's turning 3, you can get that child the same type of pass that you have, even though they're not selling to new people.
That's good to know. Yeah, that's important. A lot of kids that weren't of age to get that annual pass. Right. Suddenly, they grow up very fast.
That's right.
That's good news.
Yeah. And like I said, then you don't have to buy just day passes or multi-day passes or things like that. You can also get them. You can't do it online. You do have to call the annual pass holder line, but they will help you with that.
Very cool.
Or I'm sure if you go to the guest services and things like that. Mm-hmm.
There you go. Michelle's tip. Always the best tip. My tip this week, I already alluded to it earlier. Michelle also alluded to it earlier. When we went and sat by the pool when we were at Bay Lake Towers, we found out a little bit the hard way that even though you're in the shade under those umbrellas and it feels like you're in the shade all day long, maybe you might want to still get that sunscreen on a little bit, especially Michelle, who has a far lighter skin than I have. We were under this umbrella all day. I don't think we got out. Michelle got in the sun a little bit.
For just a few seconds.
I only had my shirt off. I don't know, hardly at all in the sun. It was barely at all. Yeah. But I did sit with my shirt off on the lounge chair in the shade. and everything. And yet we still later that night found that we had a little bit of a sunburn, not crazy, ridiculous, blistering burn, but a bit of a burn on our skin.
Yeah, I looked a little lobstery.
A little bit. Good thing we had some aloe with us for you. After that, so our tip for you would be, especially with the little ones, is that even if you think you're in the shade at Disney, you may want to still put that sunscreen on you just to be sure, because maybe those umbrellas don't protect all the UV rays or whatever.
Exactly.
Like you're thinking it's maybe cooler, it may seem nicer, but why not be on the safe side? Go ahead and get that sunscreen on you anyway.
Good point.
That's it for this week. Next week, well, it's going to be Labor Day weekend. So we thought, Disney, work, why not focus on some of the hardest working Disney characters?
Yeah.
So Michelle has this idea. I don't know what it alludes to completely, but I'm sure that's going to be a lot of fun either
12% of an idea.
That's barely a concept. Either way, it's going to be great.
Look, we're all standing up.
Bunch of... Anyway, we appreciate that you joined us today. In the future, you can find us most everywhere you get podcasts. However, the very best place to find us is on our own website, HyperionAdventuresPodcast.com. And while you're there,
we'd love for you to sign up for our newsletter and thank those of you who have.
Yes, thank you very much. And if you haven't already, go ahead and do so. It's just another way to be involved in the Hyperion Adventures podcast world.
And we don't share your email address with anybody.
Nope,
it's only for the newsletter.
And that's only once, usually a week, that we send that out as well. So we're not spamming you with that stuff. Yeah. Also, another great way to be involved with us is on social media. We're on Twitter at Hyperion Podcast, Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest at Hyperion Adventures Podcast. If you are on Facebook, come on over and join us for some good, positive Disney energy fun on our Hyperion Adventurers Facebook group.
Yeah, and feel free to share some of the fun things happening with you or coming up and celebrate with those of us that are putting things out there.
Yes, for sure. Just come on in and have a good time. That's all it's about there. Also, we're on YouTube. Just do a quick search there for Hyperion Adventures Podcast and hit subscribe, and you'll know whenever we have a new video. And if you ever want to contact us for any reason, please hit us up at our Gmail account, HyperionAdventuresPodcast@gmail.com.
And if you want to help out this podcast, we'd love for you to either tell a friend. That's the easiest and best way to get more listeners, but also giving us a review, a 5-star review, or becoming a Patreon are all wonderful ways.
There's so many ways that help with the show. Just any input at all is a great way, whether it be through social media, whether it be through the Gmail account, anything. We appreciate any input we get to know, because sometimes it can be like we're shouting out into a void when we're doing these shows. When we get something back, when we get something back, it helps us know that there's other people out there and enjoying this, and it's not just us having a great time rambling on for an hour and a half about our trip to Disney World. Anyway, that's it. Thanks for listening to another episode of the Hyperion Adventures podcast. We look forward to sharing some time with you again next week. Until that time, I'm Tom.
Or Henry. And I'm Michelle.
And we hope that you have a Henrific magical week.